We have zero control over our thoughts as humans. They come and they go. They can be perceived as positive, negative, or neutral, but they come when they want to come. I mean, I'm sure there's times where all of us have a thought and we go, ooh, glad I didn't say that one out loud. People might think something is a little off, but that's human. And so understanding that's part of human nature is a key.
If you don't know me yet, I'm Robin Thomas, founder of Living Well Connections, a healthy living community that supports, educates, and empowers us all to make healthy decisions toward a more balanced and fulfilling life. I have a background in medical research, and I love exploring the interplay of our physical, mental, and spiritual selves. In today's podcast, you'll meet certified life coach Brenna Potter. Brenna is passionate about guiding young women through a transformative journey of self-discovery, with a focus on personal growth and topics such as self-love and self-compassion. She specializes in empowering her clients to become the best version of themselves while creating a life they love.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Robin. I'm excited to have this conversation.
I'm very excited. I saw your notes and I'm actually on pins and needles. I'm ready for this. I really am. The first of all, your company's name is Coaching to Confidence.
Yeah.
And that is so true, because every single one of us needs a coach. Even coaches need a coach. And confidence is something that, is tough these days. I'm especially seeing it in all ages. I'm seeing people not really feeling confident, not feeling comfortable in their own skin, in their own mind. What brought you to opening this business and to starting this coaching program?
Yes. Well, it's very much my own journey of realizing just how tough gaining confidence can be. I knew that in college I wanted to have a fulfilling career where I would make an impact, and I wanted to be one of the few people who could wake up and say, I love what I do. So I set out to find that as early as possible. And at the time I was going through quite a few, I guess we can call them transitions and challenges that were very impactful, both emotionally, but also I would say a spiritual level for me. And I discovered coaching at that time, and everything just seemed to click. And I said, oh my gosh, this is how I want to help people. This is an amazing gift. And lucky for me, I wasn't much of a science kid. Chemistry was not my strong suit. So all the degrees it required, that fell out the window for me. But this was something where I could have, baseline knowledge about being human and get a coaching certification and still be able to support people while I grow my knowledge base. And so I just knew that's what I wanted to do. And the confidence piece really comes from, again, my own journey of just being that lost, overwhelmed. I have no idea what my next step is. Nobody can tell me what to do. Nobody has the answers. I have to find them. And just knowing how crazy that storm of emotions felt, to coming out the other side of it and trusting myself and having confidence. And, that's what I hope that all of my clients leave my practice with, having that same kind of enlightening, hey, I can trust myself. I've got this experience.
Oh, that's so great. I just had this image as you were talking. It's the image of just knowing the next step, not knowing everything ahead of you, but just knowing the next step. I had this image of somebody like going upstairs or something, it's just like, okay, if I just knew how to get just one little thing, or what can I do today? And you have a long list of things that anyone can do today. It doesn't matter what age you are. If you want to really become authentic and really learn more about yourself, here's some things you can do. And why don't you, what is your favorite? First of all, start off with your very favorite thing.
Yes. Well, I guess I did prepare quite a list for us, but my very favorite I wrote in here is writing letters to myself. This is something that I was introduced to when I was with a therapist years ago now, and she asked me to do this to help me process my emotions, but I learned so much more. So at the time, I was asked, write a letter from your future self to your present self now about all the good things that have happened now that you've processed all this emotion and you're on the other side of it. And I thought, this might be kind of crazy. I don't know if I can really get into that headspace, but I wrote it. And when I read all of that back to myself, I learned that one, yes, it does help you process your emotions, which is excellent. But it also taught me that you can really tap into that future kind of energy and remind yourself it will be okay, even if I don't feel okay right now. And it taught me what I really wanted. Rather than focusing on all the negativity I felt I was experiencing, I was able to say, oh, but you know what I do want? I want all these different outcomes that future me just said exist. So now I have something to look forward to that I didn't previously before doing that exercise. And there's many different approaches to that exercise, but that's perhaps my first and favorite experience with it to this day.
I love it. I love it. I think I have one that I've done a few times, is write down my perfect day. And it takes in just the common everyday things that you do that makes a day wonderful. And it's just a little bit of the same kind of thing, but when I was writing it, I wasn't thinking as a letter to myself. I was just thinking of it as a vision of what my perfect day is. But I mean, it sounds like anything you do, something about taking that pen or pencil in hand and actually writing it is neurologically gets it into you. Don't you think?
Oh, yeah. I do. I absolutely do. I can hear my parents, my mind too, from when I was a kid, that handwrite your notes because it's going to help you. And of course, all my teachers told me the same. But to this day, I'm a pen and paper person, surprisingly enough, for my generation. But
it is amazing, your generation. Yeah.
Yes,
it is amazing because it is. What are some other things that can help support us? What is something, that's really easy to get started in? Something that's easy. Something I know some of us love to write, and then there's some of us that that might be a little bit of a barrier at first.
Yeah.
To write things out. But what are a couple of their things that that would be a very easy way to get started, really just changing our perspective of our own being and our own life?
Yes. Well, I think if we keep in mind kind of preferences between maybe some people who are more verbal processors versus writers, I think affirmations are one of the stronger things you can do if you have preference in either one of those categories. If you do like to write, you can sit and reflect on, okay, what am I feeling right now that I don't want to be feeling anymore? And then ask yourself, okay, how do I want to be feeling? And create an empowering statement for yourself of that feeling you want. And then it's something you can say to yourself, or even just, read to yourself internally every day, however many times you want. I mean, I've gone so far as to say my affirmations 15 to 20 times on a rough day. But, just to bring yourself that comfort, get yourself used to that thought and the feeling that thought brings up. If you're not somebody who likes to write, there's tons of resources online, different apps, or even, I've seen on Spotify and YouTube, all kinds of audio platforms. You can type in, affirmations for stress relief, affirmations for increasing happiness, abundance, whatever it is that you're seeking comfort for. You can listen to somebody else read their versions.
That's such a great idea, because sometimes, you learn to start writing the affirmation that's applicable to yourself. But at first, you're right, going on Spotify or YouTube and just listening to them, that's going to change your mindset, just listening to them. And it's very easy to do. You could be washing the dishes, or you could be folding laundry, or you could be, just relaxing, and just put on one of those, put them in the headphones, and just listen. And it really takes you away. That's great. Yeah. Okay. How about somebody who's active? Now, one of the things I do is I do like to meditate, but I don't like to meditate and just sit there.
Yes, that's a great
So
point.
I actually do walking meditations. So I love nature. Anybody who ever follows me on Instagram will know that I love nature. And so I do walking meditations, or I work out, like if people like to do yoga or Pilates or any of those flow types of exercise, that's a perfect time to do meditation too. But there's other things, you talk about activities that bring you joy, relaxation. These may be things out of the box. These may be things that people don't think is typical.
Yeah.
And it could be very individual. Tell me a little bit more about that. What kind of ideas do you have for people?
Yes. I think you're absolutely right. There's quite a spectrum of activities that you can do. And it doesn't always have to be, I'm going for that walk, or I'm headed to the gym, or I'm going to the yoga class, or whatever. Sometimes it can be, I need some sunshine on my skin, so I'm going to go stand out in the grass for a minute and just be present in that moment. That's activity. As long as it's bringing you joy, relaxation, whatever you need in that moment. I mean, it could be something as simple as that. I know for myself, something I share a lot of is I was very, very inclined and interested in just arts and crafts as a child. And as I've gotten older, I'm learning to get back in touch with that because I love to color and draw and see textures and, whatever I can do to be creative, because that melts stress away for me. And so what I kind of learned to do that through a technique that I was in a class for a while back now, but essentially the instructor at the time, he said, think of that child version of yourself. What did you enjoy doing that you don't necessarily get to do anymore? And how might you be able to incorporate that in your life now? And that's how for me it was art. But I know for some people, it might be taking that walk. I also love nature. I was thinking this week, that's my treat to myself. I've got a beautiful park right down the road, and that's it. I'm going to go to my park and I'm going to just walk around and listen to nature and unplug. I mean, there's many things. If it's moving your body, what ways do you like to move your body? Do you like to walk? Do you like to run? Do you like to lift weights? Are you a swimmer? Even so much as talking to a friend, that's an activity. Again, anything that's going to help you feel that joy, that relaxation, that fulfillment that you've strayed away from because of whatever your emotions and circumstances are telling you. So hopefully that gives people some ideas.
That's some great ideas. Those are great ideas because everybody's an individual. Yeah. And there's certain things that would not be bringing me a spark of joy, but somebody else a spark
Absolutely.
of joy. I know my son, he loves sports. One of my sons adores sports, but interestingly enough, he also loves arts. And he likes to make jewelry. And so I just see him calm down, just get in his vision and really take his time. And he loves that. So that's a good ideas. Over all this, you have a statement in your notes to me. It's just, it's fabulous. It's trust yourself. And I'd love to know more. That is something that I think a lot of us have lost. We lose it over the years. We lose it when we go through a transition. Say something happens. I actually work a lot with women who are going through a divorce, or they're going through the empty nest. Their kids have grown and gone, and they're like, now what? Because they've been focused so much on that. But I think really, no matter what age you are, you go through periods of time. It's like you maybe start to doubt yourself. Tell me a little bit more about this and how you can help people.
Yes. Well, this is something that, again, it's that underlying hope I have as a coach for all of my clients, that you leave a session or you leave our engagement feeling like you trust yourself more, because I truly believe that is a pillar of being able to live a life that is in alignment with who you are as a person. And I'm blessed where I am in my life currently, but I'm also thankful for the mindset I have currently of life's too short to not do what we want to do and to not take the risks. So risks can be scary, and making decisions can be very challenging. And so learning to trust yourself is that piece that lets you move the needle towards that life that you want to live. And being able to say, yes, I did this. I trusted myself and it worked out. Or, I trusted myself. This didn't turn out the way I thought, but I've learned something. And now I can apply that to the next thing.
That is so important. You can call it anything. You call it failing forward, but honestly, everybody makes mistakes, and it's okay.
Yes.
It's okay when we make a mistake. We acknowledge it. It's a mistake. We move on. We move forward. We make amends if it's something we've hurt someone's feelings with that mistake. But moving on is really the best thing. And I love this. Just trust yourself. I think I'm going to put that up my bulletin board.
Oh,
Trust
I
yourself.
love that.
That'll be great. That'll be great. Okay, so this all brings us sort of like full circle into how powerful our thoughts are.
Yes.
Because that trust, if you're not trusting yourself, you're spiraling down. And if we can start like improve, thinking our thoughts, what we're thinking of is more of the affirmations, more of the calming, or more of the joy that we have when we're doing something we love, that spiral is going to go right back up.
Yep.
And it's a wonderful thing. Tell me, why do you teach that positive thinking matters?
Yeah. I'll start with kind of how I personally think of positive thinking, because I think a few schools have thought about it. What I've learned in the last year, I've read a lot of books, and I've had the pleasure of speaking and meeting some incredible coaches in the industry. And one of the things I've learned is it's not so much the positive thinking. We don't want that positive thinking that's almost toxic and it ignores the feelings and the reactions we're having in our body to something. But it's positive thinking in the sense of understanding the principle of thought, which is that we have zero control over our thoughts as humans. They come and they go. They can be perceived as positive, negative, or neutral, but they come when they want to come. I mean, I'm sure there's times where all of us have a thought and we go, "Ooh, glad I didn't say that one out loud." People might think something is a little off, but that's human. And so understanding that's part of human nature is a key. And to then know that you can say, okay, I want to have more positive thoughts. You can create positive thoughts. That's essentially what we're doing with affirmations. But just knowing that thoughts also correlate to your emotion and your moods. And you don't want to ever, I won't say you don't want to, but I personally don't want to speak from a place of low mood, and it's not something that I advise to those I love, including clients. When we're speaking from an emotional place, we might say things we don't mean, or we might say something that we don't actually believe. It's just a reaction. We haven't had the time to let ourselves process whatever thought brought up that reaction for us. Mm-hmm. So it's that principle of responding versus reacting. I feel like that's many things all pulled into one there. Oh, hello, kitty. Oops, sorry.
That's fine.
Kitty cat.
I love kittens, and mine is asleep right over there. He's in the window on the windowsill asleep.
Oh, I didn't know she was in here. I'll pet you later. Cats. Oh yeah. But
they spark joy. We're allowed to have cats. It's fine.
Oh, they're my favorite little creatures on the planet. Anybody who knows me can tell you that. They are my favorite. They are mine, spark joy. But hopefully that insight that I can share from my experience on positive thoughts can help folks to kind of reframe a little bit about what positive thinking means to them, and especially the piece of, keep in mind your mood and your emotion and how you're feeling before you're speaking up as much as you can, because sometimes you just need to let yourself feel it, experience it before you jump back into conversing with other people. And takes a lot of patience and practice, but it's worth it. It's a skill worth developing.
It does. You mentioned an example. I thought this was fascinating. The human weather example.
Yes. I love this. It comes from a book I read with my book club last year. It's called It's That Simple, A User's Manual for Human Beings. It's authored by Mavis Karn. And in this, she has a chapter here about understanding your moods, which is where that idea clearly comes from for me. And she says that, our conditions outside of us do not determine our internal experiences. We have control over that, which in her interpretation following that statement, she says our moods are not created by anything other than our own thinking. And you can think of it as human weather. And she goes on to share how in where she lives, weather can change rapidly. So she might need a raincoat one day, but light layering pieces the next day. And the next day she might need her snow coat. You just never know what it's going to be. But she's always prepared. And she says you can think of our moods in that same way. You can take stock of that mood and notice it and carry that with you throughout the day so that you're not acting from a place of low mood. You're putting on the right jacket for the circumstances you're in. So
I
it's
love
an
I
interesting way to think about it.
interesting way to put it, and I think I'm gonna get that book and see
Oh, it's
learn more about it.
fantastic. It's
Fantastic.
fantastic.
So this comes sort of to an end to our time. I'd love for you to share a couple of things about the best way to reach you, and if somebody's interested in talking to you further, or someone is interested in the coaching, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely, and thank you for the space to do so. So if you do want to continue this conversation, I love to chat with people. I'm very active on Instagram of all platforms. Of course, my email inbox is listed on my website. We can also put it in the show notes if anybody would like that. Can converse there as well. But I think that the best way, in my opinion, is just book my free complimentary call. It's an hour of my time for us to get to know each other. There's zero pressure ever. It's just a free hour of coaching for you and I to talk about whatever's on your mind, get to know each other. And if at that point you say, hey, Brenna, how do I coach with you? I'll walk you through the particulars, but typically it's either kind of a shorter term 30-minute sessions as needed, or I have a longer term 3-month approach where we kind of dig in a little bit deeper and meet weekly for an hour. So there's multiple ways, but just even staying in touch through social media is going to be the best way to find me if you're not ready to take the step and book a call yet, because it is a courageous thing to do, to reach out.
It is. It is courageous, and it is nice to be able to follow and see your personality and who you are a little bit. I'm sure I will put all that information in the show notes so people have it easy to click on and just go through. And I do encourage you to reach out. I mean, reach out for that hour at least. How generous is that, Brenna? That's very generous. And I have really loved getting to know you. And thank you again so much for being on the podcast. It's just been a delight.
Thank you, Robin. It's been a pleasure to speak with you. I'm so glad we're connected.
Thank you so much for joining me at my Over 40 and Fabulous podcast. Please let me know if you have any questions about this episode. I will publish new episodes at noon Eastern on Saturdays, so you can listen and watch at your convenience. If this podcast has been helpful for you, please share it on your favorite social media platform or share directly with your fantastic friends. Bye for now, and I'll see you in the next episode.